A number of discos have done that, example of which is Kaduna Disco. And some other discos have appealed to the commission for the reconsideration of the decision. And the rules are clear. Whenever a commission issued an order or a regulation, in line with the provision of the Act, as well as the business rules of the commission, the licensees have the opportunity to appeal to the commission for a variation of the decision within a 60-day period. So some of the discos have leveraged that, and they have applied to the commission for reconsideration. The commission then, in line with our business rule, conducted hearing so as to make a determination about how genuine the justification being provided by the distribution licensees are. So we had the hearings. It comprised a panel of commissioners, 4 commissioners, and the reviews are being done to ensure that at the end of the day, we can give rulings that will be fair to both the licensees and the customers. But some of the discos that have not appealed have gone ahead to actually implement the order, to comply with the order of the commission. And I've cited the example of Kaduna Disco. The other part of the order, which speaks to the reduction in the provided operational expenses of the distribution companies as a means of punishing them for that non-compliance, is still pending the implementation of it because of these rulings. Once the rulings are made, we'll go ahead. It's just for the team working on the review of tariffs, maybe by the end of this month, going into next month, we definitely reflect that reduction in their operational expenses, so that all the customers can actually benefit from that. That's one thing we've done with respect to the customer protection. The other thing we've done is that we've continued to monitor the performance or the operation of our call centers, and we are currently even reviewing the performance of the call centers to be able to know what we have to put in place to ensure improved performance so that customers can have further access to redress. The other issues relating to the other issue that I would like to speak about has to do with the issuance of eligible customer regulation. I'm sure you are all aware of the issuance of eligible customer regulation in 2017, following the declaration by the then Honorable Minister, where certain group of customers were designated as eligible customers in line with the then acts, that is based on the provision of extra then. But we've started the implementation, and a number of customers have actually benefited from that regulations. But there are some challenges that the Commission observed in the course of reviewing and implementing the regulations. Last year, we took it up as a matter of fact to ensure that we revise the regulation and ensure that all the issues observed are addressed. So based on our business rules, we engaged the public, we consulted widely, starting with the drafting of consultation paper, which was uploaded on our website, down to having written comments from the stakeholders, and also subsequent engagement with some selected stakeholders because of the technical nature of the regulation. So at the end of the day, the Commission has issued the regulation, and most likely it's on our website now if the IT has done their job. So the regulation basically now has amended sections. If you take a hold of the old one and the new one of the changes we have made has to do with the threshold. The original threshold was 2 megawatt hour per hour average for you to be qualified to apply for eligibility. That has been revised now to between 6 to 20 megawatts, depending on the nature of connection and depending on the voltage level. So if you look at, and also we try as much as possible to provide clear delineation of each of the types of eligibility, customer status, a potential eligible customer can apply for. That wasn't clearly stated in the old regulation, but there has been a clear provision now. Among other things, we also ensure that some of the challenges we observed with respect to the nature of contracts have been addressed, because previous regulation made the room for best endeavor contracts, and that has really affected the operation of such transaction. Now we provided for the need for a firm contract and the securitization of the contract, so that at least all the challenges we've observed with respect to the implementation can be addressed. Then we've also tried as much as possible to codify the regulations and the competition transition charge, which was a provision in the old act as well as the new act. So what we now have is that both the processes for applying for eligibility as well as the determination of competition transition charge are now in the same regulatory instruments. And that will make it easier for any potential eligible customer or the operator to consult easily instead of having to deal with two different regulatory documents. So competition transition charge is based on the provision of the Act, and it means a revenue that a disco or a trading licensee can be allowed to earn, which will come from other customers, which as a result of the need to meet its total revenue requirement that has been impacted by an exit of eligible customers. Because the discos are not allowed to earn more than what the Commission has determined for them, but if they lose a customer to eligibility, there is a potential for them to lose their revenue, part of their revenue requirement. So there is a provision in the Act that the Commission may at a point in time review any application for such competition transition charge and make a determination and grant approval to the distribution company to earn such a revenue. So such revenue will come from such eligible customers, which the customer will pay in addition to paying for the energy such customer gets from the new supplier supplying its energy. So that's another thing. So one other thing we've also looked at has to do with the sequencing. In the old regulations, the market participation agreement comes before the grants of eligibility. So the Commission has corrected that, because for you to participate as a market participant, for you to be able to register with the market operator, you ought to have been granted either a permit or eligibility status or license. So now market participation agreement will have to come after you have secured that eligibility from the Commission. So the application process too now has been amended. Previously, there were some concerns with respect to the clarity of the application process, but now we've now provided such clarity. We now ensure that the stages for application process is now 3. So you have the first process, which you file certain documents for commission to determine your eligibility to see whether you are an eligible customer. What that does is to help the customer from undergoing a rigorous process of signing an agreement with their potential suppliers and other related agreements, only for them to now come to the commission, and the commission will now say, all you have done has amounted to a waste because you are not really eligible. So, but if they come, they submit just few information, and the commission will make a determination of their eligibility before they now proceed to sign the necessary agreements and come back to the commission for conferment of that eligibility. So those are a few number of things that the commission has made to a few number of changes the commission has made to the regulation, which probably can be useful for the media. There are some other things that are technical in nature that may not necessarily be useful for the media at this material time. The regulation is already on our website, and you can familiarize yourself with it. And if you have any questions, you can touch base with the commission. You are our friends, so we will always be willing to listen to you. The third issue that I would like to address has to do with the rate application. Permit me to go on a memory lane, and I think it's not new to you that last year the Commission received application from the distribution licensees for a review of their rates. And as part of the rules of the Commission, we conducted hearings where we invited the consumer groups, advocates, then consumer group advocates, then we invited Nigeria Society of Engineers rather. We invited Manufacturer Association of Nigeria. We invited NOHIS as an appellate of Nigeria Labour Congress and many other stakeholders. So the hearing was conducted in such a manner that the discourse were put on the spot to justify why the Commission should approve their application. And we also invited some interveners, some experts in the field that interrogated the distribution companies on their application. Also, consumer advocates also interrogated the application. At the end of the day, the Commission made a resolution on the application, and in December, the order was released, which was widely reported by the media, by you, which we really appreciate. Then in the order, it was provided that there will be constant review to ensure that the customers do not suffer the problem of rate shock. Even though in that particular order, the rates were frozen on the basis of the consideration by the policymakers, and also on the basis of trying as much as possible to ensure that we also put in place the necessary enforcement that the Commission will need to enforce, improve service delivery. So fast track from that, a lot of work has actually gone into the process, into the application of the discourse. And most importantly, there was serious concentration on service delivery. Of course, we all understand, and I think the media, especially the energy correspondents we have here, you understand the value chain, where we have the generation companies, we have the transmission companies, and we have the distribution companies. Of course, the distribution companies serve as the interface between the sector or between the industry and the customers. And whatever the experience of the customers, any grievances are directed at them. Even sometimes the issues leading to that grievances might not necessarily be within their control. For instance, if there is an issue with generation, and also if there is an issue with transmission. So, and I'm sure since the last media engagements, we've experienced different changes to the level of service provision in the sector. I think in December there was an improvement in the quality of service, but leading to January there were some challenges. And one of the reasons for that challenges has to do with payments. Because the tariff is frozen at the rates obtainable as at December 2022, the payment to the generation companies has significantly gone down relative to their cost of operation. As you are aware, we have about 75% of our generation coming from thermal generation companies. That is a company making use of gas. That is gas-dependent generators. While about 25% comes from the hydro, making use of God-given water. As we may think that, okay, for water is God-given, but the machines put in place for processing the water into electron requires investment and has to be recovered. And even aside from that, there is water rates payable by the hydro generators. So on the basis of looking at the gas as a case, the gas as of December 2022 was $2.18 per MSCOF. But when you look at that $2.18 as at that time, based on the FX, based on the exchange rate, it amounted to maybe, let's say, 900 or 1,000, thereabouts, depending on the exchange rate you used at the time. But fast track to December 2023, if you convert the same $2.18 into Naira, you know how much it is based on the FX rates. And that speaks to the change in the cost of operation. For instance, that means that the gas that a Genco will buy for 900 Naira, for instance, has probably gone to 2,000 plus just because of FX rates. And I would like to state that, of course, we can look at it that way, but one thing we need to realize is that as at the time the FX rate was 400, it means that FX rate was being subsidized. That means that you had two different sets of subsidies on the power sector then, likewise the petroleum sector. One thing was that the price at that time computed at roughly 400, 450 FX rates. The one that was transferred to the customers was less than what it's supposed to be. Let's say it was supposed to be 80 Naira or 75 Naira, but only 70 Naira was transferred to the customers. That means that you have a direct or open subsidy of 5 Naira. But the fact that a FX as at that time was also supposed to be, let's say, 600 or 700, but it was 450. That also creates additional subsidy that is hidden, which can be called hidden subsidy or indirect subsidy, which were both borne by the government. But because of liberalization of FX market now, that is unification of exchange rates, we now clearly see that the hidden subsidy now has become an open subsidy, and all has come to now all has now made up the total subsidy that was branded in the news by you, our friends, because I've read a lot of news where you talked about the subsidy based on the order released by the Commission. Then, so on this note, but because the tariff payable by the customers had not changed, that really affected the payment to the generation companies, and that led to the situation whereby the generation companies were unable to also make payment for gas, and that also resulted in reduction in gas supply to the power sector, because there is competitive demand for gas now. You have so many other companies that require gas and pay for it. So in short, the issue has compounded the performance of the sector, and that led to the dip in generation we experienced recently. Of course, things are picking up now. So back to the application of the distribution by the distribution companies. So further review went into, first and foremost, you recall we classify customers on the basis of the hours of service, where you have band A, band B, band C, band D, band E, based on the service level. So the Commission went to review the performance of those feeders, leveraging on technology. Leveraging technology to be able to monitor the performance of the feeders on near real time. And on that basis, the Commission has decided that many of the feeders that the DISCOs currently brandish as band A are not meeting the band A service. And as such, the feeders are being ordered to be downgraded immediately as a way of protecting consumers. So that is one thing. So on that basis, we have over 3,000 feeders, that is DISCOs feeders, and initially we had over 875 feeders as band A feeders, based on the classification by the distribution companies. But upon reviewing those feeders' performance, the Commission has reduced it to under 500 feeders now, which qualifies as band A feeders, that is the feeders that are currently meeting the 20 hours average service. So when you look at that 480 something feeders, that is under 500 feeders, vis-a-vis the over 3,000 feeders we have, the computation shows that you have just 17% of the total feeders of the distribution companies now qualified as band A feeders. And in that case, when you look at that 17%, if you look at where those feeders are critically, it's estimated that just under 15% of customers are benefiting from those feeders, that is, are currently connected to those feeders. Meaning that we have 70% of the total distribution feeders, but we have less than 15% of customers currently benefiting that service. So on the basis of that, and you recall that I said that other feeders that are not meeting the 24-hour supply have been asked to be downgraded immediately with strict compliance and strong enforcement action. So the Commission now set and review further the application by the distribution companies and have decided that only the 17% feeders and less than 15% customers will be affected by any rate increase that the Commission will ever approve for the distribution company. So further to that, the Commission has issued an order which is titled April 2024 Supplementary Order. That is supplementary to the order issued in December 2023, effective January 2024. So the April supplementary order takes effect from today. And in that order, the Commission has approved a rate review of 225 naira per kilowatt hour for just under 15% of the customer population in NERSI. So that means that less than 15% of the customers will be affected. And you recall the number, I'm sure you are aware of the number of customers we have in NERSI, and these are the customers that have been proven to be enjoying 20 hours average of supply. I would also like to repeat what I said earlier on, that many of the customers, if that classified as Band A customers, will not be affected. Many of the customers previously classified as Band A customers will not be affected. In fact, majority of them will not be affected. Only 15%, less than 15% of the customer population will now be affected by this rate review. And the reason for this includes, first and foremost, when you look at the state of infrastructure in NERSI, the quality of infrastructure in NERSI varies from one location to the other. There are certain locations where, without any additional investments, the distribution companies, as are also the transmission companies, based on the investment previously made, can deliver a minimum of 20 hours per day. But in some locations, there will be a need for improvement in quality of the infrastructure before quality of supply can improve. So the customers that are going to be affected are the customers that are living in locations where no investment is required to meet the 20 hours service. And they constitute less than 15% of the customer population. That is that. Then for other customers, are they neglected? No. They will still continue to get service, but not up to 20 hours. And there are targets that have been provided for the distribution companies, which the Commission will monitor and review from time to time to ensure the migration of other customers to better service. Then, as part of the enforcement mechanism for this, because the rate that will be paid, which is 225, is just about 3 times the existing rates. requires that the customer truly get the service. So I've told you that the Commission is leveraging on technology to ensure that we get access directly to the distribution system and get the data as the data is being fed from the meters, the smart meters that have been installed on the feeders. We are getting in real time or near real time. We don't give the discos the opportunity of any manipulation of data. That is one thing. Secondly, the order provides that the and customer can really question the integrity of the data published by the disco and also report to the Commission as well. As part of the enforcement, monitoring and evaluation mechanism, discos have also been mandated to set up rapid response team in different locations. That is, in the locations that those feeders that are going to be affected by the rate review are located, so that the customers in those areas can have access to near real-time response from the distribution companies. So the discos have been mandated to publish the contacts of the rapid response teams in each of the locations where the customers that will be affected by these rates will residents. So we are starting with that. As I said, we are not neglecting other customers, but we are commencing with the customers that are going to be affected by this rate review first and foremost. And we migrate or continue to review and ensure that this rapid response team and all other mechanisms being put in place for performance monitoring also cascade to other customer clusters. That is one thing. The other thing we put in the order is that for a failure to meet the service commitment for 7 consecutive days, the feeder will be downgraded immediately to the service level that the discos is able to provide on that feeder. That is another thing. The other provision is that where a disco fails to meet the service commitment for 2 consecutive days, by third day at 10 a.m., the discos must publish an explanation and also via bulk SMS contact the affected customers on the feeder and provide explanation on why the service was unable to meet the service required for the 2 days, and also submit to the Commission the explanation as well as providing the updates on the status for the restoration of the service to the service commitment level. The other provision in the order is where a disco fails to meet the service level to the band A customers, that is the less than 15% customers that are going to be affected by the rate review. For a month, the discos is not only ordered to downgrade the feeders, but they will pay compensation to the customers in line with an existing order on migration of feeders. So those things are put in there to ensure that we have adequate protection for customers, as well as ensuring that we monitor the performance of the utility, face-to-face the commitment to service delivery. The other we have in-house, which is not clearly expressly stated in the order, has to do with the setting up of situation room by the Commission. The Commission currently has a team of in-house staff. They've constituted what we call situation room to ensure that they are on ground as they monitor the performance of the distribution companies near real time. They are also able to provide feedback and directive to the field officers of the distribution companies. Apart from the staff of the Commission, we have in the situation room staff of the transmission company of Nigeria, because it's very critical. Because if transmission companies is unable to wheel power to a particular location, there is nothing in there for the DISCOs to distribute to the customers. Then in the situation room, we also have the staff of the distribution companies. And that includes their technical officers, led by the chief technical officers. The MDs, of course, is an honorary member of the situation room, but the chief technical officer is a mandate member of the situation room. Then their commercial staff are also are also members of the situation room. We want to ensure that we don't just put out any order revising the rate to 225 naira per kilowatt hour for a subset of the customers, and at the end of the day, we just leave the customers without protecting their interests. Because at the Commission, it is believed that we exist because of customers. This is because without customers, there won't be any products, and without product, there won't be any seller, no distribution, no transmission, no generation. And without those, there won't be anything to regulate. So regulator exists because of customers in one way or the other. Even though based on the provision of the Act, we are to ensure fair regulation, balancing regulations. And in doing that, sometimes the interest of every group will have to be protected, and in doing so, you may not be, some group may feel that, oh, my interest is not 100% protected. That is the challenge with the balancing regulation. So we've put all those in place, as I said, to ensure that we protect the customers, and starting especially the few customers that will be affected by this order on the rate application. The order will soon be released to the press, but we feel that it's important for us to engage with you first as our partner in the business, just to ensure that there is no misrepresentation of facts, because your duty is to inform, but not to misinform. And in doing your duty, we hold you the responsibility of explaining certain things to you, because there will always be information asymmetry. Because this is not what you deal with day in, day out. But we that deal with that every day, the information we have and the actions we have taken, we need to provide explanation to the Nigerian public. On this note, I will stop here now first. As I said, sorry, before I stop, enforcement of investments is key, and that has not changed. DISCOs have been mandated to make certain investments, and the Commission is monitoring it. But investment in the sector goes beyond the distribution level. It covers the transmission and also the generation segments. But one thing is clear, investments will only follow the path to recovery. And that's been the reason the level of investment we have witnessed in the sector so far is lower than what would be expected because of the challenge of recovery. But we are trying to ensure that we make the sector as much lucrative as possible in order to attract more investment into the sector. And the Commission is poised and determined, and we have able staff to ensure that we achieve that. But we need support of the media most importantly, because you control the narration and you control the larger populace. On social media, you are out there. On print media, you are there. And whatever the information you pass out there, people tend to believe. So it's important, and I believe you also hold this nation the responsibility of fair reporting, transparent reporting, and don't mislead or misinform the populace. So that is really key. One other thing is that when you look at the affected customers, they have the highest metering rates compared to other customers. It is estimated that they have the metering rate of between 70 to 80%, and the efforts are ongoing to ensure that those customers that are going to be affected by this rate review will close the metering gap. There are some regulatory processes that the Commission is putting in place to fast-track the rollout of meters. One, to all customers, but most especially to the customers that are going to be affected by these rates. In addition to that, the Commission is working on having some sort of liberalization in the determination of the price and demand for meter. That is currently being worked on, and in due course, you will be notified of the final decision of the Commission on that. We've heard that many people have actually made case for full liberalization of meters. But the challenge with that is you need to be able to have quality control first, and also the way the operation of the distributions are currently set up. There are certain meters that may not be able to speak to or communicate with some of the platforms of some of the discos. So you need to just now ensure that even when you are promoting liberalization, you need to ensure that you go step by step, do some sort of liberalization, but don't open it up fully, completely. Because we run the risk of making customers suffer. For instance, if you do open liberalization, complete liberalization, whereby I can just walk into the shop and purchase a meter. One is the quality of the meter. The second thing is such customer may get to its utility, that is the disco, and has the disco to come and install the meter. And the disco just tells the customer that, oh, I'm sorry, this meter does not have the required communication module to my vending platform. The customers will have suffered in terms of the money he paid, and also the psychological problem attaching to the fact that I've paid and I've passed through this serious process, and only for you to tell me that this meter cannot communicate with you to your vending platform. So we need to be gradual, we need to be strategic in the level of liberalization we adopt. But as we go, things will continue to move, and we continue to move along. So the other thing is the government itself, the federal government, is also currently working on a number of metering programs, one of which we are quite aware is the Distribution Rehabilitation Program that includes metering, which is going to be financed using the loan from the World Bank. The federal government is doing everything possible to finalize on that. The federal government has also put in place what we call Presidential Metering Initiatives, which is PMI, and I'm sure by the time the minister addresses the nation, as well as the SA Energy to the president, they will provide further updates on that. All are the efforts geared towards ensuring that we close the metering gap in NESE. But as I told you, any metering program, we first of all start with the 20% that are currently not fully metered among the affected customers. That is the customers in the new Band A clusters. But as a stopgap, pending the time the meters will be rolled out to those customers, the Commission has also strengthened its enforcement of capping order to ensure that DISCOs comply with the cap. That is the maximum amount of amounts they can bill the customers that are currently unmetered. Both the affected the customers in the less than 15% population, as well as other customers. 2022. I presume that answered your question. To the first question by Mr. Abbas, Vanguard newspaper, you talked about the monitoring and evaluation, and you made mention of some customers, or that many customers in the old regime didn't get the service. I think when I started, I acknowledged that we did a review. Of course, many customers got the service during the period, and many customers didn't. So eventually, based on our review of the data available to the Commission, we realized that on average, the Band A customers got about 16 hours instead of the 20 hours. That was on average then. But that means that when you are doing average, it means that some got above, some got the minimum of 20 hours, and some definitely get something below. And it was on that basis we started the review or pruning down of the Band A feeders, leading to this final decision. I told you that close to 900 feeders were initially stated as Band A feeders. That is 875, if I remember correctly, as Band A feeders in the old regime. But what we have currently is less than 500 that the Commission has determined that really got the necessary service, and it is those feeders that the Commission has approved for their rate to go up, and those feeders will be published in the website of the distribution companies, 7 days rolling average, and also in the orders of the Commission. The approved affected feeders will be published in the order of is already contained in the order of the Commission that will be published later. So we put in place a lot of enforcement processes, which I actually talked about the other time. First and foremost, the enforcement will be much easier now because the number of feeders that are in the buckets have gone down significantly. You have less number of feeders to worry about. So in this, then, we have also explained that we have about 3 or 4 different ways of validating the compliance to the service commitment. One of which is what we call API, that is Interface Protocol, whereby we get the information we plug in using technology to get data from the distribution companies. And the other one is even having access, login access to their own metadata management system. whereby we can also get information as they come from the feeders based on via the smart meters on the 11 kV feeders of the distribution company. The other ways of validating is also to now check what the DISCOs publish on their website and tally it with what we are able to get from the using the technology, so that at the end of the day, if there is a disparity, they need to come and explain to the commission. And the act is clear on provision of false information, and good, the act now has provided more powers to the commission. I think we were all aware in the old acts, the enforcement actions of the commission was significantly limited and impacted by the provision of that act, because maximum of 10,000 naira per day was what the commission could fine a DISCO or any licensees that has failed to comply with the terms and conditions of their license. And only just 10,000 naira, not per day in this case, that the commission could legally fine a licensee that did not comply with the regulations or order of the commission. That really also contributed to enforcement action, but now the power has been improved. You are aware of the intervention in Kaduna. We couldn't have been able to do that using the whole act. We did something lesser than that in 2018, when we suspended the board of Ibadan DISCO. The court said we didn't have the power to do so. But now we did it, Kaduna, they could not even go to court, let alone the court deciding that we don't have the power. So now all those things are definitely working for the commission, and the commission is supposed to ensure compliance. And I've told you, publication of 7 days, rolling average, our ability to leverage technology and get direct data from their MDMS, and also the situation room we have put in place as part of the enforcement mechanism will definitely enable us to react to any failure near the real time. So we are determined that customers will get this service, and we are going to enforce that. And we have started by ensuring that all the feeders, the DISCOs were previously, many of the feeders they were previously brandishing as band A feeders have been taken out. To say that you've not been able to prove empirically that you are able to supply band A service to these feeders. So those are things we have put in place. To Mr. Kingsley, Guardian, yes, you talked about the amount put as the cost-reflective tariff for band A customers in the old feeder, fees the new rate. You are correct. But first and foremost, when that order was issued, the rate, FX rate was less than 1,000 naira per dollar. As that when we issued the original order, that is 2024 order that was effective January 1st, the exchange rate we used in there was less than 1,000 naira per dollar. Now exchange rate has gone over 1,000 naira. In the supplementary order, there was an adjustment. I don't know if the supplementary order of February was also released. There was an adjustment to that order. The rate there, if you compare with the one that was issued in January, will be higher compared to what was in the January order. Apart from that, January or February to now, is that when you look at the inflation rates in December, January, or even early February, that is, which would be the inflation rate for January or for December that were published, the inflation rate as at the end of February, which is the newest or the current inflation rate available, as published by the Bureau of Statistics, is more than what it was then. Currently, I think it's 31 point something. So all those things contribute to the changes in the actual cost reflective tariff of the discos, and also in terms of the band A tariff now. The other thing we need to also look at is, and that speaks to the question by leadership and also speaks to this question by Mr. Kingsley, is that if I'm enjoyed by a service, for instance, I get minimum of 20 hours per day, I'm being saved from buying diesel. Diesel today goes at the rate of 1,500, 1,006, or 1,000, or depending on where you live. So in a liter of diesel, you can only get the maximum of 3 kilowatts. So if you look at the fuel cost, that is diesel cost alone, for you to get 1 unit of electricity, 1 kilowatt, you are already into 500, 550. So when you now have had the cost of the generator itself, you amortize it over a number of years, you add it to it, you have the maintenance cost, is way, way, way more than what the band A, what the 225 is. But for people paying 225, they will spend less, they may not even spend anything on generator. Or if they have to, maybe maximum of 4 hours. But people getting poorer service compared to this band A will spend more in putting on their generator. Similar thing speaks to our petrol powered fuel generator. The maximum you can get per liter is around 2.5, 2.6. So when you look at that, add the cost of petrol, add the cost of maintenance, add the cost of the generator itself, you amortize over a number of time, you will see that people paying this higher 2225 are better off. So in order also to be fair, I talked about fair regulation the other time. This particular order has taken care of that to ensure that if you are going to spend less on generator because you are getting better service, because you are located in a place where the infrastructure already affords the opportunity to deliver the service, you pay higher than other customers. So for now, other customers are not going to experience any increase, any change at all in their tariff. So that is that. On the review of ECR, what necessitated the review? Many factors. And now I think I mentioned some of them. First and foremost, in the course of implementing the regulations, we had many challenges, one of which is that the old regulations makes registration as market participants a condition precedent to getting the approval of the commission to even be an eligible customer. Meanwhile, to get approval of the commission to be an eligible customer before you register as eligible customer with the market operator. That is one thing. The other thing is there have been challenges with the customers in getting supplier agreements, the supplier of last resort agreements from the distribution companies. Because the old regulations provides that the customer, that is the eligible customer applicant, should get supplier of last resort agreements from the distribution company in their area. We've seen some sort of frustration or some difficulties in getting that supply of last resort agreements from the distribution company. So we've taken that away from them now. They don't have that opportunity. The other thing is that we look at the current network, and we realize that many of eligible customers at 2 megawatt hour per hour will definitely be on, some might be on 11 kV level, because 2 megawatts is still less than the capacity of our 11 kV. So if you continue with that now, and an eligible customer comes to say, oh, I'm in 11 kV level, I want to be an eligible customer. The challenge with that is monitoring will become an issue, because we currently have a bit of that, the way electron moves, and it has serious implication on even the health of the infrastructure. If you say you are eligible customers, that means that the DISCO will ask you to pay maybe just dues and so on and so forth. Of course, the challenge is that in some locations, the way the 11 kV networks are configured, it will be difficult for the market operator to have feasibility to the eligible customers administration. Meanwhile, it's the market operator that is responsible for settlement. On that basis, in order to align with the network and grid codes and so on, other rules, we have to now correct the anomalies we experience and say, okay, we move the threshold to the level that is in compliance with the extant rules. And in doing so, we are also mindful of the fact that this is a regulatory instrument. If there is a progress in terms of the developments in infrastructure, NESI-wise, we are going to definitely review the regulation and probably bring down the threshold so that at least more customers can also be qualified to benefit from it. But most importantly, we also need to guide other customers, because we can say that we are prioritizing some big customers and we leave the rest of us to poor service, just because we want to prioritize the big customers and so on. Even though we believe that there are so many ways through which our manufacturers can get better service. And the Commission is poised to pursue that with working with the Honorable Minister of Power and the Vice President's office to ensure that we come up, already there is a work going on to ensure that we look at the specific challenges faced by the industrial clusters, because they are the backbone of our economy. So we are working on the specific challenges, identifying them, and that will be quantified, putting the numbers in terms of the cost, and we work out the framework through which the financing can be made and the investment be put in place to ensure that they get better, much better service. But with this review also in places where many of them are located, where they currently can enjoy better service from 20 and above, it will be better for them if the Commission enforces that service delivery, because they will now have to consume less using diesel, which is more expensive for them compared to the grid supply. So those are a few things. If you look at the regulation now, if you have the old regulation and the new one, you may be able to clearly see the differences. And also the Commission will soon be publishing the comments and the review made by the Commission, the comment received on those regulations, on that particular eligible customer regulations, as well as the review and the justification for the final decision the Commission took.